Okay, how's it going? Pre-calc class. Back at it with section 2 here. Uh, I got a little behind last week and didn't get to posting this on Friday like I had originally planned, but here we go. We got it right now. So we're still solving systems of equations. This time we're using the elimination method instead of the substitution like we were doing last week. So how we go through elimination method is we have our variables x and y in our question, and we would like to get rid of one of them by combining the two equations such that one of them kind of goes away because it adds up to 0. So like in this first one right here that we have, 3x plus 2y equals 4, and 5x minus 2y equals 8. If we add both of these together, 8x plus 0, you don't even need to write that, equals 12. Okay, now that's really just 8x equals 12. We can divide by 8, and we're left with x equals 3 over 2, in which case we can find the y. So we'll substitute back into either of the equations up top. Doesn't really matter. What am I looking for here? 3 times 3 over 2 plus 2y equals 4. So we get 9 over 2 plus 2y equals 4. And that's going to get us to a negative 1/2, right? Which means y equals negative 1/4. Okay, that's pretty much what elimination is. We're going to go through one more question that's a little bit more difficult and then see what else we can do kind of with this whole system of equations and interpretation. Okay, at this point we have no nice terms that we can just add these together, so we actually have to make either the x or the y terms the same here. Doesn't really matter. I'll go with the x just because they're there first. So what I would think to do here is I want to see what number 5 and 2 have in common, and 10 is going to be the number we want to get to. So I can multiply that first one by 2, this next one by 5. So I'm going to take that whole first equation and multiply it by 2. So 10x plus 6y equals 18. The next one, if we multiply by 5, 10x minus 20y equals 70 is what we're looking at here. And at this point, since both of the first x's have a 10 in front of them, we can take these and subtract them from one another. So the issue here is keeping in mind the subtraction is going to flip the sign. So 6y minus a negative 20 is really 26y. And for the next one, 18 minus 70, that's going to get us a negative, what's that going to be? 52. I think that's right. And then we're going to divide by 26, leaving us with a nice negative 2. Once we have that, we got to find out our x term. So pick either of the equations. Let's go with this one. And let's substitute in the negative 2. Subtract the 8 over. So we have 3 and negative 2. And of course, it's always good to check these, plugging them both into one of the equations, seeing that they work out. I'm not going to go through and do that, but good idea at home for the homework ones. Okay, let's talk about different situations that can happen with going through questions. So I have 3 different examples here. Each are going to give us something a little interesting. So let's start off with the black one over here. And we can see 2 and 4. It's only 2 times away. Let's multiply that first equation by 2. Okay, if we combine these and we add both of these together, what that leaves us with is a 0 plus 0 equals 12, which is kind of a strange result. Pretty sure 0 doesn't equal 12. Huh. We'll get back to what that means in a second. On the middle one here, if we're going through and solving this, the bottom one, we just need to multiply by 2. So let's see. Top equation stays the same. 2x plus 4y equals 10. We can now subtract these, and we're left with 0 here. Negative 7y equals negative 7, so y equals 1. If y equals 1, 2x minus 3 equals 3. 2x equals 6, x equals 3. So we have the answer of 3, 1 here. And then finally, on to the green one. Yet again, looks pretty close to that first one we did. If we multiply the top equation by 2. And then if we add both of these together, we're now left with the situation of 0 equaling 0. So it looks like we have 2 kind of odd cases, and then the middle one seemed to work as we kind of hoped. Let's talk about what's happening on these 2 outside cases. 0 equals 12. This is clearly not true. So what's happening here, if you went through and were to graph these, you would see that we had actually some parallel lines. I don't know exactly what they look like. And in this system of equations, we're looking to see where the lines cross. Since we have parallel lines here, they never cross, so we get something that's kind of nonsensical. 0 equals 12. Definitely not true, which means there's no solution here. So whenever we get some kind of outcome that's clearly contradictory or wrong, that just means there's no solution, which graphically means the lines are parallel. The middle one, there's exactly one solution, which means, yet again, not sure what these lines look like, but we have that they're going to cross at 3, 1. So I don't know, something like that. And then the final one, we have 0 equals 0. What that means graphically is that these 2 lines are actually the same line, just on top of each other. Right, so we have a red and the blue one. They're literally on top of one another. So what that means is there are, in fact, an infinite number of solutions. Because they cross at every single point they have in common, which is all of them. Okay, so those are the 3 different types of situations we can really have that are going to occur for us. So let's take a look at some random questions and see if we can break down which situation is which. Okay. X minus 2y equals 3 and negative 2x plus 4y equals 1. I'm going to make that first x into a 2 here. So we're left with 2x minus 4y equals 6. We combine these and notice they're looking pretty similar here. 0 plus 0 equals 7. 0 equals 7. You see something like that and say, I'm pretty sure that's not true. The nice little symbol for this is this kind of lightning bolt arrow, which means that's a contradiction. That's not true. And if you're trying to think, what did we do before? Since that's not true, that means there are no solutions. These are, in fact, parallel lines. Great. Almost near the end. 2x minus y equals 1 and 4x minus 2y equals 2. Let's take that first one, multiply by 2. And you can see after multiplying it by 2 that these are literally the same exact thing. So if we did subtract them here, we're getting 0 equals 0, which means this is the same line. And there are, in fact, an infinite number of solutions. Right, and I think the last one we're going to be looking at here, all of a sudden we're throwing decimals into the mix. Yeah, no one wants decimals there. So we need to get rid of them. How are we going to get rid of them? Well, if you notice, this is in the hundredths place, hundredths. So we could multiply literally everything by 100 and see what happens here. Because I do not want to look at any kind of decimals. So that becomes 2x minus 5y equals negative 38. And then 3x plus 4y equals 104. Okay, let's try to make those x variables the same here. So in doing that, 6 is going to be the smallest number we can get to here. So I'm going to multiply the first one by 3, the next one by 2. 6x minus 15y equals, oh man, this is a big one, 90 plus 24, so negative 104, is that right? Maybe? No, there's got to be another one there, isn't it? Negative 114, that sounds better. And 6x plus 8y equals 208. Okay, let's subtract these. Yeah, we're not going to add them together. Let's subtract them. We have our 0 here. This is going to become a negative 23y, and this one is going to become negative 322. Okay. Negative 322 divided by negative 23. And these do, in fact, work out to be a nice number. This one is going to be 14. Okay. Once we get 14, we can find out what that x is. We could use the decimal ones. I'm not going to. Let's go with one of the nicer equations here. 2x minus 5 times 14 equals negative 38. 5 times 14, 50, 70. So 2x equals, we add that 70 over, and we're going to get 32. So x is 16 here. It'd be nice to see the end as well. Okay. So homework, in case you had forgotten what it was that we're working on in this section 7.2. And it was 11 through 20, as well as 49 through 56. Please email me, leave some comments below if you have any questions on this homework assignment. I want to post some kind of video on Wednesday for you guys talking about this stuff, and we can go from there. Okay, stay safe, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.